This geopolitical situation is just getting more absurd by the day. What's going on here? As of course, that's what people who are left asking as they are looking into the current developments with American foreign policy, as it's a very confusing endeavor. While it looks like we might have just had a false flag attack in Poland in order to prolong this war. What in the world is going on here? As we have new alleged hacking teams that just exposed a major vulnerability for the Ukrainians with the amount of losses that they allegedly lost during these wars. Are these numbers true? Are these numbers what they say they are? As even NATO is admitting, hey, the Russian war machine is very faster, quicker, and more effective when it comes to creating munitions than the West is. A big admission, as China is readying and waiting in the wing here, as they play a very crucial, important role as well when it comes to some of the big developments that are happening here. Now, we're going to be talking about that and all of the very kind of confusing back and forth, bipolar type of statements from world leaders, and we're going to make sense of it as best as we can here on this independent media broadcast. If you appreciate our news coverage of these particular events and talking about them for 20 plus years and kind of diagnosing them fairly correctly, subscribe. Click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you, of course, spend with us. As now, we're getting news reports that Trump is saying, well, you know what? I think we're pretty close to a deal here, and we're not going to be sending U.S. troops on the ground. And boom, we have this major event in Poland. There's a lot of people are saying, kind of correlated here with the sentiment of the Europeans that are not too happy with the prospects of Ukraine potentially giving up some land here. Now, The Independent from Europe has a very interesting article titled "Critics Feared Trump and Putin Were on the Same Page Now. Trump and Zelensky Appear Closer Than Ever." Yeah, that's a good, okay. Yeah, we want good relations with the Ukrainians, with the Russians, in order to show goodwill here to facilitate and work out a deal here. As right now we're getting reports that Zelensky said that his talks with Trump have been their best meeting yet, as the White House correspondent recaps a historic day at the White House when European leaders, except for the Polish one, by the way, that was kind of weird. Everyone was there, except for the Polish prime minister or president. I would have preferred the president be there. But the sentiment in Poland also is very serious, since Poland has been the country that's been doing the most, I would say, especially when it comes to helping Ukrainians directly, helping their citizens, helping them actually flee, helping with the transportation hubs, with the military assistance, as there's many even foreign Polish mercenaries fighting on behalf of the Ukrainians on the front lines there. And many Polish soldiers have lost their life during this conflict here as well. Now, with the prospects of peace being closer than ever, we have this event here. A military drone fell in Poland. What? What's going on here? In between Belarus and Warsaw, there's what looks like a military drone that just landed in the field and exploded. As, of course, no casualties were reported, luckily, as Poland is saying this incident could be a Russian provocation. Now, the Poles have previously blamed Russia on lighting their shopping mall on fire. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But this was an explosion that happened at midnight. Now, the Russians have been flying fighter jets and drones over Lithuania, over Poland. They've been flying missiles over Poland to kind of send a clear kind of signal here. Hey, we're going to keep you on alert here. As, of course, this was a major kind of saber rattle. What just happened here? Was this a Russian drone that was doing a recon that was shot down? Was this a Ukrainian drone? Was this a false flag drone? What's going on here is, of course, a lot of people are reporting as this is, quote, a major incident that happened here as just over midnight, residents of Oshny, 100 kilometers from Warsaw, were woken up by a powerful blast at around 2 a.m. Police confirmed that they have seen the wreckage and photos of what looks like an engine identical to the MD-550, the type powering the Russian Shahed drones against Ukraine, as there were key similarities, allegedly, with the four-cylinder horizontal opposed layout. There was distinctive air-cooled fins. There was long vertical exhaust stacks. There were shielded ignition systems and a cast aluminum crankcase and propeller hub, as these features, quote, match the engines from the Shaheds already downed in Ukraine. The site lies directly on Poland's supplies corridor, the only land lifeline delivering Western weapons and aid that sustain Ukraine defenses. And being in Poland recently, I was at one of the transportation. I was like driving by a road near one of the major ports, and it's just full on American military equipment. Now, Poland does have American military bases. Fort Trump is one of them. Before getting into some of my kind of own perspective on this and talking about this kind of Russian hack against the Ukrainians, we wanted to remind you to sign up to lukeunfiltered.com. We do really cool things like range days. We do nature hikes. We do conversations. I got to get back into the Telegram because I'm using my bootleg studio. I've been working a lot harder and I have a lot less free time. So I'm going to get back into the chat room. And if you want to talk to me and you want to talk to other great, awesome, beautiful, amazing human beings, get into the Telegram chat. Once you're in the Telegram chat, you're a part of a group, an organization that gets to talk about all the news that's breaking down, all the things that you guys are interested in. People share some very interesting stuff there. You also get 3 masterclasses, 13 years of exclusive videos. Sign up right now. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. You click the link, you go here, you sign up for whatever you could sign up for. I understand times are a little tough here, and your support now needed more than ever. There's a lot of things going on, especially when it comes to the kind of thinning of alternative independent media that right now is in a situation that isn't too good. But listen, we'll make it because of your individual support. Make sure to check your spam. Google still sends our login credential emails to spam for some reason. But that's how you get in. And then you get a plethora of really cool, awesome offers of value, seed oil cards, exclusive merchandise just available for members, limited edition items, really cool stuff just by signing up and becoming a member. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the chat, and hopefully September 20th in the range day that we're doing in South Florida. This one's going to be a banger. It's going to be fun. I really love doing this. We already did this twice, and knowing self-defense I think is more important than ever. Okay. Now, let's get back here to the conversation of what's unfolding here. As we have the Polish defense minister that is suggesting that this drone crash is a sabotage attack by the Russians. Now, why would Russia do this? Well, some people would say they want to continue the war. They want this war to continue. And if it's not going to be them false flagging it, it's going to be the intel agencies and the military-industrial complex that want to see this war happen. Was this a failed attempt at a potential false flag attack? What in the world's going on here is, of course, the Polish foreign minister had this to say about this incident.
Regarding the operational commander's report regarding airspace, I received one this morning, as I do every morning. According to preliminary analysis, radar systems have not recorded any airspace violations, which doesn't mean we won't verify them in this regard. And this is also one of the hypotheses that must be taken into account. Such very precise and meticulous scrutiny is required for drones to be small objects, as we are most likely talking about a drone that crashed. According to this information, it does not yet bear any signs that would immediately indicate a military nature, so we cannot rule out the possibility that we are dealing with a smuggling drone, Colonel, General Commander.
And all the options are possible here. But again, Poland previously accused Russia, and specifically Russian intelligence services, of orchestrating a massive fire that nearly, quote, completely destroyed a major shopping center in the capital of Warsaw last year. Now, they're saying the Russians did this because this is the way to disrupt their economy. This is their way of doing sabotage, sneak attacks. Now, a little bit unorthodox, a little strange here. You would think like a sprinkler system would be something that would be worth investigating. Listen, like it or not, there have been a lot of people that literally have not done their homework, and then they are like, Russia did it. Russia ate my homework. Okay, you can't just be blaming Russia on everything. Now, were they responsible for this Secret Service type of massive fire attack? Listen, we're living in a strange world where anything and everything is possible. Is it like plausible? I don't know why they would risk that. The UK is saying that Russia is responsible for other sabotage attacks as well against their infrastructure. Now, a shopping center, though, I mean, I understand like maybe a factory where they're producing some of the hardware going to Ukraine, but a shopping center? I don't know. This as the European Union says that, and this is the head of the EU diplomacy came out and says the EU does not trust any agreement with Russia, and they will, quote, continue to arm forces of Ukraine and continue to impose sanctions against Moscow. Clearly, the European Union is a country, is an alliance, it's a continent of countries. Oh my goodness. The responses here are pretty interesting, to say the least here. Again, we don't screen a lot of this, but it's pretty clear here. The globalist European, leftist, woke European Union is very, quote, Russian phobic. And that's very interesting. The left loves their Ukraine, the right loves their Israel, and there's a very similar kind of association here. Now, with Zelensky saying he's happier than ever, with us being closer to peace than ever, right? You would think the European Union would be like, I trust all the European leaders. I trust Zelensky. Nope. Still not happy here. Still complaining. Still moaning. Just like the wretched old cat lady women around the world here. Now, U.S. and NATO are trying to figure out, okay, if U.S. boots are not going to be on the ground, how are we going to guarantee Ukraine's security? Ukraine's coming to the negotiation table being, look, all we want to make sure we don't get invaded and attacked again. If we're going to disarm, there's going to be someone here that's going to have to protect us. That's what they're saying. That's their kind of red line here. Saying, all right, fine, we'll give up territory, but we got to make sure that this war doesn't spark off again. Now, this is a dangerous kind of gambit because let's just say hypothetically, it was entertained that the U.S. troops would be there. Donald Trump said no. Now we have this weird drone attack in Poland. American troops on the ground providing a buffer zone for Ukraine would create a situation ripe for a false flag attack. That would involve American troops. There would be a major event. And then after that major event, oh man, gloves are off. And then plus American troops right on Russia's border, something that, of course, the Russians would protest against. As the Pentagon now is trying to figure out a plan to support Ukraine beyond just the weapons, because the United States is continuing to give weapons now. One option is European troops in Ukraine under U.S. command. That's what they're kind of negotiating here. The Russians are probably not going to be going for that, and they're probably going to be saying no. There's probably going to be maybe Turkey. I see Turkey potentially because they have a big military force here. I see China potentially doing this since they have big trade, extensive ties with Ukraine, and they also are closer aligned with Russia. But Russia might be allergic to that, as Trump specifically ruled out American troops. But he is suggesting there might be some air support here. Now, we're reaching a point where this was even a hot mic moment where Trump is telling Macron that he believes Putin wants to cut a deal with Ukraine. Now, Kremlin is playing down the Zelensky talks, as Trump even came out himself. Well, Putin, after Trump says, hey, I think he actually wants to make a deal on a hot mic, publicly he's saying Putin may not want to make a deal. What's the reason for this type of behavior? I think it's countering this hot mic moment that wasn't supposed to be public. And now he's saying, no. Actually, he might not want to make a deal. And whatever it is, it's definitely not showing the best of messaging here. Now, NATO Secretary Mark Rutte specifically said, hey, Russia could produce as much ammunition in 3 months as NATO can produce in a full year. As The Economist even writes, at the current rates of procurement, it will take 7 years to bring American ammunition stocks back to where they were before military aid to Ukraine began. This is a major deal, as right now, we allegedly have a Russian hacking group that hacked the Ukrainian General Staff database and allegedly exposed how 1.7 million military casualties from 2022 to 2025 occurred during this conflict. Now, that is a huge number. Now, the breach allegedly was executed with nuanced malware that revealed the soldiers' names, cause of death, family contacts, and photographs. Leak records detail how 118,500 deaths happened in 2022, nearly 400,000 in 2023, nearly 600,000 in 2024, and over 600,000 in 2025. Now listen, those are huge numbers, and you saw Donald Trump talk about these huge numbers and these huge casualty losses. Listen, these drones, far more sinister, far more destructive. Now, you add that and you look at the plains and you look at the battlefields of Ukraine, flat fields, not much to hide. There's some tree cover and they're running to trees and they're digging holes. Listen, it is an open battlefield with new forms of robotic forms of drone, and with the levels of conscriptions, with the levels of people being forcefully mobilized above on the Ukrainian side. Russia mobilizing as much soldiers as they can, and they're doing it through incentives and monetary programs, and they're doing it in a very kind of effective way. Russia clearly has more people here. Now, the defending force usually loses less people than the force that is attacking, right? Because they have defensive fortifications, defensive positions, and it makes sense that the people playing defense don't lose more lives here. Now, how many people did Russia lose? Listen, if this hacking group actually verified, and this is actually true, Russia probably lost over 1 million people too. Let's just be honest with ourselves. We're talking about the life loss of like 2 to 3 million Slavic young men. I mean, that just makes me sick to my stomach. That is just horrible. Especially with the major population declines that Slavic men are dealing with. Huge population declines. Huge. Now, the hack data highlights a lot of the personal details of high-ranking officers from the Ukrainian Special Forces, allegedly. And who knows? Maybe this was something that the Ukrainians... And again, you need to entertain all sides of the story, because during war, truth is the first casualty. It could be that there could be a disinformation operation meant to... And there's a lot of disinformation operations meant to highlight a situation where you use the kind of fog of war, you use false flag, you use fake information to make your enemy think one thing, and then you kind of counteract it by launching an aggressive maneuver in another kind of misdirection. Is this a big misdirection that maybe the Ukrainians faked? I don't know. It's kind of hard to fake names, databases, and individuals that could be correlated with publicly available kind of citizen data out there. Now, There's also allegedly a comprehensive list of all the weapons transferred from multiple countries to Ukraine from 2022 to 2025 that were exposed. The malware, allegedly designed to operate solely within Ukraine, infected devices, extracted sensitive data, and rendered systems unrecoverable. The massive breach raises questions about the security of Ukraine's military infrastructure and the extent of foreign involvement in this conflict. Now, again, could be fake, could be, but with the way that this conflict is unfolding, with the way that this situation is kind of ongoing, especially with the planes of war as they are here, this peace deal can't come soon enough. As right now, the White House is looking for Budapest for talks between Putin and Zelensky. As Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, came out and said Ukraine security talks lead to nowhere without Russian involvement. And it looks like the next stage of this kind of conversation will be happening here. What will China's involvement be here? Will Turkey be involved here? Will another kind of proxy force be involved here? I don't know. But with the way that this situation is unfolding, peace can't come soon enough. And if you agree, share this video. I can't thank you guys enough for signing up to lookunfiltered.com. I am internally grateful for all of your support. It means the world to me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you doing that. And this is why I try to end every single broadcast by saying, I love you guys. Beautiful and amazing human beings. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.